welcome to this week's episode of Success in Women. I'm Linda.
I'm Andrea.
And today we're going to be talking about health and wellness. Now, I know we've spoken about it in the past, but we want to go a little deeper. So before we dive in, Andrew's got her tip for the week.
Well, along those lines, I found this tip that when you bring your fruit and vegetables home, you should actually soak them in a bowl of water with a teaspoon, depending on how much, maybe how much fruit you're doing, and a tablespoon of baking soda. You let them sit for about 15 minutes and you'd be surprised what comes off the fruit and the vegetables.
Wow.
Sometimes you see even little wormies.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So sometimes just running them under cold water or whatever for a few minutes doesn't do it. So if you do it this way, then you drain them, dry them up, throw them back. I put like a little paper towel back into the containers that I bought them in after I washed it.
Yeah.
And they're good to go. So it's a good way to know that you're eating
a little bit cleaner.
As clean as it can be.
Right. I know a friend of mine, she always used to wash it, but she'd wash it with actual soap.
Oh.
So I like the idea of the baking soda. It's a little bit more natural too.
Well, I have done, if I'm going to do a baked potato or roasted potato and I want the skin, I will use a sponge and a little bit of my melaleuca because the melaleuca is non-toxic, the dish soap, and there's no harsh chemicals in it. So,
wow.
But I mean, I still rinse it off,
Yeah.
but I'm not worried about anything.
Got it.
Yeah. So it's a trending thing right now, trying to eat clean and keep the toxins away.
Well, it's interesting, and it goes in with our episode this week about, the trends. And there's always a new trend. And, a lot of times, especially for diet, Andrea, a lot of people are getting into, I'll say, plant-based foods or the intermittent fasting. And before, we used to have, Atkins, and we had Bernstein, and we had a number of things that were, I'll say, unhealthy for long term. And people are looking for that magic formula.
Which, and right now they've got Jenny Craig, they've got Nutrisystem, they've got Golo, they've got Noom. It's like, and it's all going to cost you money to find out if that's what is going to work for you. And basically, for me, I've talked about it before, I think Weight Watchers is the more realistic, sustainable system or program out there. Because you use your own foods, you just learn how to balance and how to, introduce better foods, because the foods that are good for you don't cost you points. It's on a point system. So you have so many points a day, and your fruits and your vegetables and your protein don't cost you points. But if you start adding fats and sugars and...
But they're not actually discouraging you from eating fat, are they?
No.
Because you need fat.
Not the good fats, like the avocados.
Right.
Which is, really trending now.
Salmon.
Olive oil. You just use it sparingly, which you should be doing, right?
So you've been on Weight Watchers a long time. Have you noticed a trend over the years, how they've changed their point system to allow other foods? Because I remember, I'll say it was back in the 80s, and especially then, people were coming out with low-fat products. So no fat, low fat, and so people thought that they could eat this stuff and not gain weight. But when you have a lot of these things, they're adding other things to it to make it tasty. Sugar, which is kind of almost a number one killer. But so people thought, and so they thought they were doing something good for their body, and in actual fact, they weren't.
That's right.
And the food industry, unfortunately, has been, as I said earlier, killing us softly and quickly.
Yeah.
Well, softly because you don't notice it because it tastes good.
It's good.
But it's, when I say softly, I meant slowly, because over time it will kill you. And it's why there seems to be a lot more diseases. There seems to be a lot more children with autism, people with attention deficit. all of these are because of things that we're putting in our body and the environment around us.
And our body is being starved of nutrition.
Yep.
Even the way they grow the food now.
Yes.
It's grown quickly. The soils are depleted. So when you think you're eating an apple or something that you think is healthy, they really don't have the nutrition it had 50 years ago. And there's like almost proof that in the last, before 100 years ago, we didn't have a lot of the diseases and sicknesses that we have now.
Right.
And then once they introduced wheat and processed foods and this processed sugar, then everything started showing up little by little.
And true enough, because when we went to school, we didn't have kids with allergies, so you could bring a peanut butter and jam sandwich to school. You could have an egg salad sandwich. You could have anything you wanted because it wasn't a restriction because of somebody being highly allergic to this. And this is the problem now.
I never even knew anybody that was allergic to peanut butter until actually maybe in the generation of my first daughter, maybe. Before that, I never heard of anybody.
Well, things started to change at that point because even for us, growing up, we basically had, I'll say, very healthy foods. And then the things started to open up like McDonald's and different fast food places that were giving you not the natural stuff that your mother made at home.
Right.
And so we got part of that. And it's actually what I've read many times, that the baby boom generation will probably be the longest living because we had the good stuff and we had some of the bad stuff. But everything in moderation is not so bad.
Right.
But the newer generation have had mostly the bad stuff because we didn't know it was really bad. Kids were in activities. It's quick to say, I'm going to pick up my child after school and we're going to stop at McDonald's, get something very quick to eat, and they're going to go off to play their sports or their dance or whatever it is that they're going to do. And so they got a lot more of the bad foods. And so all of a sudden, these allergies started to develop.
Well, and the chemicals that all the big companies are using now to spray the crops, in at least here, in America. In Canada, the one preservative has been banned, the Roundup. You can't get it anywhere in Canada. And I still know people that come across the border to get it so that they can just do their lawns. But
she's only speculating. She doesn't really. She can't name names.
No, I can't name names. I've just heard through the grapevine. But anyway, so the crops are being sprayed, and then when they go into the plants, they're being modified. They're being processed. Then once they're put together, then they're sprayed with chemicals to preserve them. The shelf. Come on, think about the shelf life of some of these foods.
Yes,
really. And
I love now when you go to a store and it says non-GMO, meaning it's not genetically modified, which is really important. And so Andrew and I discovered last year an app. And you can put this on your phone. I shop with this app.
Please put it on your phone.
All the time.
Please.
And I've told you this in a previous episode before that I went through Andrew's kitchen. And this is even before she knew about this. And I was going and checking all the products that she had in her kitchen, stuff that she was eating and stuff. And then we went into, I'll say, cleaning supplies and stuff. Anyway, if it doesn't know the rating, then it's going to tell you that. But a lot of the stuff was coming up and it was all good, healthy products, because one of the things that Andrew likes to do is feed her family very healthy foods, looking for those products that said non-GMO, not knowing that these rated very high, and I'm not sure if you pronounce it yucca or yucca.
Yeah, Y-U-K-A. Download it right away. It's free. It's free, and they're a Canadian company, right?
They're what?
Canadian company.
Actually, I don't even know.
I think they are.
But they don't get paid.
They don't, no, nothing.
They're just doing this as a service, and I'm not sure if they have advertisers or something where they're getting some compensation for it, but it's one of the best apps I've ever downloaded.
Right.
And funny enough, so Andrew and I were in a makeup store recently and looking for certain lipstick that would stay on because, you know, you want it to be,
Long-lasting.
yeah, a little bit longer lasting than, you know, you put it on and you walk out the door and it's basically smeared because you had a drink of water or something. Anyway, so we're in there and this lady, sales lady, she came up to us and wanted to show us some lipstick that we should consider. And then we pull out the Yucca app and right away she knew what that was and she walked away because she knew that it was going to come out and it came out zero. Not even a little bit poor or bad, because some things will come out poor or bad, and then you can make a judgment when you go in to see why. Sometimes it's because, like if it's food that you consume, it might be a little bit too fatty. Okay, that's okay. In moderation, fatty's okay. Sometimes it's a bit too much salt or too much sweetener of some sort. Then you make a judgment call. But a lot of times what happens is that they have risky additives. Mm-hmm. This is what you're putting in your body and sometimes on your body.
Yes. Yes. And that's the good thing about it. So, and the other thing it does do, if it rates it as bad, it'll give you an alternative.
Yes.
What to buy that is good instead of. And it's incredible. It's an incredible app.
I was buying, recently I was buying some nachos because I had a craving for the salsa and nachos. And I mean, there's not much. It's a corn chip, right? Oh my goodness. What a difference. Some of them I just literally had to put back. But anyway, and the one I bought was a pretty good rating, but I think it was Que Paso or something. And I know that name, but that brand was not in the store that I was shopping at.
Wow.
Could not believe, but that was the one that came up really, really high. Now mine came up good enough that I could buy it and know that I'm getting a relatively good, healthy product.
Right.
But the ones that, for the most part, that are, I'll say, a lot of people that buy, I'm not even going to give the brand because you'll know them when you go in the store and start looking up with the app. All you do is scan the barcode.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap, because I know that other brand. I bought many times before owning not owning, but having the Yucca app, because I carry my cell phone now everywhere. So if I'm buying a skin product, something, you know, for the makeup, buying something to eat, I want to know exactly if I'm getting good stuff or dangerous stuff. And when I say dangerous, you wouldn't believe how many products have hazardous stuff.
I mean, I was on Facebook the other day and this gentleman came on and he's, I think it was a painter or a plumber, I can't remember. And he was in a store buying some cereal for his family and he noticed this one product or one ingredient in the cereal that he uses in his business. And on the package of his business is the skull and the crossbones, hazardous warning. And he said, here it was inside the cereal.
That he was buying for his children.
So I had shared that on Facebook and on Instagram. And a lot of my friends were like, thank you, Andrea, for sharing that. They are slowly killing us. And it's a very, very popular cereal that a lot of children love because it's loaded with sugar. And that's what they're after. They have teams of people in laboratories figuring out how to get your children addicted to certain foods. And it's a sad situation we're in right now. And the toxins that they're throwing in the kids' bodies, you know, and then they're approved by FDA. And then meanwhile, you have natural stuff or good things that are good for our bodies and and the government are trying to shut them down. And they're trying to shut them down. It's a sad world we're in right now. So we have to be our own adversaries. We have to go and research foods, research natural things, you know, find ways to eat clean, eat healthy. Yeah. And, you know, we're not going to live, I mean, some people want to live long, like Linda here. But even if we don't live to be 100, the years you live, you want to live strong and healthy. I just want to go in my sleep. I don't want to be crippled up in a nursing home. But
I think that's why there's probably a lot more people with dementia, because it's part of the foods that we're taking in.
Linda, Oh, amazing you said that. So there's this guy that I listen to on Instagram, Dr. Gary Brecka, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard of him. And that he claims, and he says there's all kinds of medical proof or
Evidence?
When they write things down in all these research papers in all these hospitals, that dementia is actually type 3 diabetes.
Oh.
That's what it is. And the brain is lacking in something. I listened to the whole thing. I was amazed. And once you start feeding these people what they're lacking, what the brain is lacking, they start to
slow it down.
Did
they really get recovered?
I can't, you know what, you'd have to look it up, but he talks about everything. We were just listening to something about depression, and he says everything, every disease, every mental issue is all the body's way of telling you that it's deprived of something.
Yes. And you have to find out what that is.
And they do now, even you could go to your doctor for a DNA test to see what in your body is depleted, what you need more of, and what you're, I guess, prone to develop, and feed it and help it.
What's interesting, I also listened to a webinar recently, and there was this doctor on, and he runs a retreat in Utah, and all the stuff that he talks about for health and wellness, okay? And again, it's along that same line. What's your body deprived of? That could be the reason for whatever. In this particular case, the example, one of the examples that they gave, the host was saying, I wake up 3 o'clock in the morning every night. Every night, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm wide awake. He goes, I start doing my workout. He said, then I'll start working, whatever. But it's not a good way to live because you do get tired. Your body needs more sleep. Anyway, something that this doctor actually, and we'll put it, the hashtag, we'll put it in the link below the video, because I have it, but I don't have it in front of me. But he was saying some little tweaking that he did. All of a sudden, he said he's sleeping 8-9 hours straight.
Exactly.
Now, the what's interesting about that, he goes, but none of it's covered by your medical plans. Because the government doesn't want to keep you healthy.
No, of course
It's
not.
bigger business for them to keep you always having something wrong with you.
Exactly.
And if you look around, how many people now have cancers that never before, Andrew, when we were growing up, other than my father who worked in a mine under very poor conditions, okay, and was inhaling a lot of dust, he ended up with throat cancer. But in general,
we didn't.
it's not like every other.
It is today. No.
Because everybody knows somebody that's got some form of cancer.
Right.
Young, old, it doesn't seem to matter.
And the plastics.
Oh my God,
You know, they're associating plastic with a lot of cancers. And now I just saw another thing about these coffee cups that you get at the coffee houses. They're all lined with something that protects the water from absorbing in the paper.
Right.
And the minute hot liquid hits that material, it releases all these chemicals. So these young people running to Starbucks, running to Timmy's, Dunkin' Donuts, they're just filling themselves full. The water bottles in the store, like, please stop drinking from plastic water bottles. They've been sitting in warehouses baking in the sun. And who knows what's in the water. You know, it's little things like that that people think are safe because they're out there. The government allows it.
Because the government allows it.
But they're not.
Even on the ships, Andrea, and if you've noticed, they're giving cans or glass now in their water bottles.
Yes.
And I actually was at a conference last year in the fall, and they had, it was regular water, but in these cool little bottles. So I guess they're recycling them, but I mean, it'd be so cool just to have a whole pile of them because they were really nice shaped bottles.
And then the other thing I saw just recently, I was giving my head a shake, that a lot of people will say, okay, well, I boil my water. They say if you boil it for a certain amount of time.
We used to hear that all the time.
Yeah, you purify it.
Yeah.
Well, so this gentleman who was a professional said, when you boil water with fluoride and you boil it to try to purify it, it turns the fluoride into fluorine or something, which is twice as toxic as fluoride. He said, please, if you got nothing else, drink the fluoride water. Don't boil it to try and fix it. I'm thinking, is there nothing in this world that we can drink or eat except grow our own foods? I mean, it's getting crazy.
But even if you think about it, Andrea, like this morning I had 2 cups of lemon water, hot lemon water. Gee, you know, maybe the water that I'm actually boiling is not even good because I'm trying to do the one thing, detox the liver with the lemon water, and yet I'm getting killed. I'm getting killed with the poison of the...
That's why you have to filter the water, then boil the water for your coffee. Well, I do that anyways. I only put filtered water in my coffee machine, and I don't... Now, there's another thing. I don't cook. If I'm making pasta, I just take it out of the tap because I always thought once you boiled it, it was good.
Well, that's
now
what
I'm nervous about that.
Yeah.
Oh, what are we to do? What are we to do?
I know, it's really true. But you know, everything about being successful is starting with your health and your family's health. Because you can be healthy yourself, and if you're not looking after your family properly and they're not healthy, that, I'll say, detracts you from the stuff that you're supposed to be focusing on. So if you're preventative, okay, instead of being reactive, then you go much further. And you know, for more than 30 years, I've been drinking green tea every day. At work, I drink green tea.
We bought so much of it in China.
Oh, we bought tons in China, and that was the loose leaf green tea. And I mean, I just drink all forms of green tea and the matcha, you know, that comes from Japan. I love it all, but I really just enjoy it as a hot drink. I'm not a big coffee drinker, although I started drinking coffee recently, when I say recently, in the last few years, where I drink some. I don't drink it every day.
Not like me.
No, but it was something I never had as a routine. But I like my green tea, not realizing all the benefits of green tea and actually helping as well to clean, I'll say, your system out, your body out. Just like people, you know, believe in lemon water. I like lemon water, so as a change sometimes, especially down when I'm in Florida, I love drinking lemon water. It's just, I don't know, even though it's hot, it's refreshing. I really just enjoy that.
Yeah, they say it should be, in order to clear the liver, warm water, not boiling.
No.
Just nice and warm, and it relaxes all the organs.
Yeah. I more and more I keep reading about it, and you know, Dr. Gundry, which we've talked about, you know, he's really about the gut health, and everything almost stems from the gut and works its way up, down, and all over the place. And so you have to have a healthy gut. And he talks about the prebiotics and probiotics,
which I take of his,
and sometimes
they have made a big difference. Yes,
but sometimes you can get some of that in your yogurt that you buy.
Absolutely.
But if you want to take supplements, that's okay. But you got to know the right things. And you can't take a supplement for absolutely everything because it gets to be too much.
Try to do it natural.
As much as you can.
As much as you can. There's spices and oils and...
But you got to find the right ones.
You do. You have to research. Do your research.
So this is interesting. So recently... we were told about saffron, and I know about saffron as a spice. My ex-husband used to cook with saffron, but there is a big difference on buying saffron at your local store and buying a really good quality, possibly from a health food store or from, I'm going to say where it's located, like whether it's Spain or somewhere, I'll say, where it actually is growing the pure stuff. So one of the things that a friend of my sister's, he's East Indian, and they know a lot about saffron. He said, you put just one little thread, put it in the milk. And if the milk turns, I believe that's when it's not a good one, it's just dyed.
Oh.
Anyway, it was really interesting, and you can Google that, or if you have East Indian friends, ask them about it, because I had bought some when I was on a cruise in Europe, and it was interesting. My sister had bought some at a local store, an Indian store,
Oh.
and we did the test, and unbelievable. The stuff I bought was pure.
Wow.
The stuff that she got was basically garbage.
And she got it at an Indian store.
She did, but like a lot of foods, and that's why I'm saying you could eat healthy, but you got to know what you're putting in your body. So make sure you use the Yucca app, or if you're not sure how it's supposed to be, Google and find out, because how would you know? And I'll tell you one way you know with saffron, the more expensive it is, chances are the more pure it is.
Right.
You can't buy inexpensive saffron and think you're getting the real stuff.
No.
So we are going to be going on a trend of some health and wellness stuff episodes, because again, success begins with a healthy you and a healthy family.
Yes.
So we hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Success in Women. And if you did like us,
Please like,
share,
and subscribe.
I'm Linda.
I'm Andrea.
Until next week.
Have a great week, ladies.
2 thumbs up.